Welcome back to Courtroom Chronicles, where real cases meet unbelievable moments. Today's story? A sovereign citizen showdown featuring Kenneth Hobbs, a defendant who's not just challenging the charges, he's challenging the very existence of his identity. In this bizarre exchange, Hobbs argues that the name written in all caps on his legal documents doesn't represent him, but rather a corporate entity. The judge, calm, collected, and visibly trying to make sense of this tangled web of living man versus fictional person, will witness Hobbs present his birth certificate as evidence of sovereignty, deny being the person on trial, and even question whether this courtroom operates under maritime law. Stick around, because by the end, this case goes from confusing to downright fascinating. Would you ever challenge a judge like this? Let's dive in.
It's captioned, motion to represent the person in all caps, comma, Kenneth Hobbs. State of Ohio plaintiff versus Kenneth Hobbs, defendant, in parentheses, a man. Attached to that is some document that's titled Flag of the Vessel, and another document, an Ohio Department of Health Certificate of Live Birth. So, Mr. Hobbs, I'm going to address this with you. You indicate, well, the motion says, the body of the motion, now comes a defendant, a living man in special appearance, who asks this honorable court to grant said defendant to be the legal representative for the person named in the instrument as defendant Kenneth Hobbs. Due to lack of representation and disagreements with counsel, said defendant would like to represent the person named in all caps. Aren't you the person named in all caps?
Your Honor, I'm here on special appearance.
I know. Are you the person named in all caps?
I'm the representative of the person in all caps.
So you're not the person in all caps?
I'm the representative of.
Okay. So are you or are you not the person in all caps?
No.
You're not. Okay.
Right now,
Let me finish. In no way do I give consent or jurisdiction in this case and request to move forward and challenge the alleged violations in the instrument the state has provided. Attached for the record is my certified and documented living man's document showing that the person charged is a living man representing the person in all caps and will be appearing to represent himself by way of duress and special appearance. So what do you mean, appearing to represent himself?
Here it begins, the sovereign citizen's favorite argument. Hobbs is claiming he's merely the representative of the name written in capital letters, not the person himself. In sovereign citizen ideology, they believe the government creates a separate legal entity at birth, and that by refusing to be that entity, they can somehow escape legal jurisdiction. But here's the truth. Courts recognize you and your legal identity as one and the same. There's no hidden strawman corporation. Notice the judge's patience. She keeps calmly asking, "Are you the person in all caps?" trying to give Hobbs every opportunity to clarify.
Himself, is that you?
I'm representing the person in all caps.
Okay.
I'm a living person, living flesh and being person.
Right, but you're not the person in all caps?
No, that's
Who's the person in all caps?
That's the entity of the corporation.
Okay, you can't.
I'd like to challenge jurisdiction,
you're not,
Your Honor.
hold on, you're not permitted to practice law. You're permitted to represent yourself, you're not permitted to practice law.
The Constitution says anybody without a bar can represent you.
Okay. Well, and I'm telling you that you cannot represent somebody unless you're a lawyer. So you can't represent yourself based on what you're telling me. You can't represent the person in all caps because you're not a lawyer. Unless you acknowledge that you are the person that's charged, you are the person in all caps.
I don't understand.
Well, you've told me that you're here to represent the person in all caps, but you're not the person in all caps, that the person in all caps is the entity.
And there it is. The signature phrase, "I'm a living flesh and blood man." This is a hallmark line used by defendants who reject governmental authority. They think this statement places them outside statutory law, but legally speaking, it holds zero weight. The court deals with people, not abstract philosophies. Still, the judge stays professional. She's walking a fine line between maintaining order and not escalating a sovereign debate that could spiral quickly.
Right?
Your Honor, I'd like to present my live birth certificate on the record and my
I already have it.
living
It's already-
life claim.
It's already in the record. It's part
Right,
of
this
this
is the
file.
original copy, and I want to bring fraud into it because I'm really a beneficiary and not the trustee, so
Okay, so you're not Kenneth Hobbs, the person in all caps that you
that's
represent?
the entity that I represent.
Okay, well, you're not going to be permitted to represent an entity. So Ms. Carroll is your lawyer.
The living live
In
flesh
this
person
case.
is right here, Your Honor, and I put it on the
Okay.
record.
I understand, but I'm just going based on what you tell me, okay? That you claim you are here to represent the person in all caps in the
I
caption,
like to
and
tell-
that you are not
Now Hobbs introduces another sovereign theory twist, claiming fraud and identifying himself as the beneficiary instead of the trustee. In their world, the government supposedly holds a secret financial trust tied to your birth certificate, and declaring yourself the beneficiary gives you control. In reality, no such trust exists, but you have to admire the judge's control here. She keeps her responses factual, sticking to legal definitions instead of taking the philosophical bait.
that you are not the person in all caps, that the person in all caps is a separate entity. Is that correct?
I don't understand. What I'm telling you, Your Honor, is I'm here to challenge jurisdiction over me, to find out, to have the state prove, you know what I'm saying, that I am the person in all caps, and that I'm not the living flesh man here, and on this birth certificate, the
So
living
you're
life birth
not,
certificate.
you're not the person listed in that birth certificate,
That's the entity listed in that birth certificate.
but it's not
Not
you.
the corporation, that's the corporation act.
Okay, so, and so that, you are here to represent that corporation represented in that living birth certificate, is
I'm
that
not here,
correct?
I'm here to be a representative of the person in all caps. I'm here to represent myself
And
as a flesh and blood person.
This
And
is a crucial moment. The judge clarifies what most sovereign citizens miss. You cannot represent another person or entity unless you're a licensed attorney. Hobbs insists he's representing the entity, but the court only allows self-representation, meaning he must either be the defendant or let a lawyer represent him. When Hobbs refuses to admit he is Kenneth Hobbs, he's cornered legally. And that's exactly what the judge is methodically revealing here.
Person.
And the person in all caps is the person charged with the offense, right?
I do not answer questions, Your Honor.
Huh?
I do not answer questions, Your Honor.
You didn't ask a what do you mean you didn't ask a
I
question?
said I'm not here to answer questions. I'm here to challenge the
Okay.
jurisdiction, to see what jurisdiction the state has over me to prosecute this case.
Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna have a jury trial on Monday. Ms. Carroll is your representative.
Okay, I'd like to put it in on the record for this case to be dismissed.
Okay, it's denied. That request is denied.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a jury trial on Monday. The jury trial, you're to be here at 7:45. That's when you're required to be here. The jury trial will start at 8 o'clock.
I object, Your Honor. This is a violation of constitutional rights.
This line right here, "I do not answer questions," tells you everything about the mindset. Hobbs sees this courtroom as an adversary, not an institution of law. By refusing to engage, he's trying to withhold consent to jurisdiction. But here's the catch. Criminal jurisdiction doesn't require consent. If the alleged offense happened within the state, the court already has authority. At this point, the judge's patience deserves an award. She's still calmly explaining, even as Hobbs keeps talking in circles.
Constitutional rights.
Okay,
Once I challenge the jurisdiction, the state cannot go forward unless jurisdiction is,
Your objection's overruled. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, Mr. Hobbs, that once we start this jury trial, that if you speak out of turn during the course of this jury trial, okay, meaning the only time you're permitted to speak is if you speak discreetly with Ms. Carroll at the table, without the jury hearing anything, or you testify. That's the only time you're permitted to speak when the jury's in the courtroom. Do you understand that?
correct.
Okay. If you speak out of turn during the course of the trial, then what I will do is...
The tension rises. The judge moves forward, setting a trial date, and immediately, Hobbs objects on constitutional grounds. This is classic. Sovereign citizens often claim the court lacks jurisdiction because no injured party exists. But the judge overrules him swiftly, because in criminal law, the injured party is the state itself. It's not about personal harm. It's about violating a law enacted by the people through the state.
What I will do is send the jury out, have you removed to another smaller courtroom where you can watch the proceedings from there. You understand that?
Can the state prove, show the contract that I've signed or the injured party in this case or anything like that?
That's why we're going to have the trial. Okay. Do you understand?
They
that-
can't be an injured party.
Do you understand I'm not going to put up with any interruptions during the course of the trial? Do you understand that? Do you understand that?
Now we see the judge laying down boundaries. If Hobbs disrupts the trial, he'll be removed to another room. That's not a threat. It's standard courtroom procedure. Judges must protect the integrity of a jury trial. This warning tells us she's experienced with defendants like Hobbs. She's seen these sovereignty tactics before and knows exactly how to maintain control. What do you think? Should judges allow more freedom for defendants like this? Or do firm rules keep the court fair?
So you're nodding your head yes. Is that correct?
I'm here to challenge the jurisdiction, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you understand that I'm not going to put up with any interruptions by you during the course of the trial?
Your Honor, once I stated that I'm the true living person in this case, and there's no injured party and there's no damage done or anything like that,
So
they had to prove beyond a preponderance of the jurisdiction they have to.
right.
Have they?
That's why we're having a trial. If they can't prove the jurisdiction, okay, then they can't prove the case. But that's why we have the trial.
And can I see the official seals and official
So here's
wet ink on the signed documents?
here's what we're
Even
gonna.
now, Hobbs repeats his core defense: jurisdiction. This argument has already been explained multiple times, yet he doubles down. This shows how deeply some defendants believe these pseudo-legal theories. To them, jurisdiction is everything. But in reality, once the court establishes the crime, the defendant, and the location, jurisdiction is automatically satisfied. It's like arguing gravity doesn't exist because you don't consent to it.
What we're going to do, okay, we're going to have this trial, and this is your one and only warning, okay? If you interrupt the trial by speaking out of turn, you're going to be removed down the hallway for the remainder of the trial where you can watch what goes on, but you won't be in here unless you testify. Do you understand that? And you're nodding your head yes.
Yes, Your Honor, but I have not signed any contract for a lawyer or to have someone appointed for me. I was trying to represent myself.
But,
And I'm here to
but
speak on
the
the issues.
But the problem is that you're not here to represent yourself. You're here to represent Kenneth Hobbs, all in caps, which is a separate entity from you, right?
Yes, are we doing?
Here's the breaking point. The judge issues her final warning. She knows Hobbs could turn this trial into chaos, so she gives him one last chance to cooperate. If he speaks out of turn again, he'll be removed and only allowed to watch from another room. This is a subtle yet powerful moment. The court is balancing fairness with firmness.
Are we doing common law or this admiralty
Right.
law?
Is that, am I understanding this correctly?
Is this are we practicing common law or are we practicing admiralty law?
We're not on a ship, so
Right.
we're okay.
So we practicing common law?
So you cannot represent an entity, okay? And the fact that...
And here comes the curveball. Are we under common law or admiralty law? This question pops up often in sovereign citizen cases because they believe U.S. courts secretly operate under maritime law, laws meant for ships and commerce. The judge's dry humor response, "We're not on a ship," perfectly captures the absurdity of the claim. That single line sums up her control of the room: calm, witty, and unmoved.
that you're conducting yourself as you are right now tells me you don't understand the process and aren't competent to represent yourself. If you indicated that you were trying to represent yourself. So Ms. Carroll will be the lawyer come Monday. Okay? Is there anything else to put on the record from the state?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Carol?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right.
So, what did we just witness? A textbook example of sovereign citizen ideology colliding with real-world law. Kenneth Hobbs refused to acknowledge his legal identity, tried to separate himself from the entity on paper, and ultimately lost the right to represent himself. The judge handled it with remarkable composure, prioritizing due process over drama. Cases like this remind us how powerful and misunderstood the concept of jurisdiction can be. If you found this case as unbelievable as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns every week.